Hi friends, welcome to Talent Sprint's Banker's Choice program. In this session, we are going to discuss about blood relations. Blood relations is a very interesting and important topic from reasoning, where we are supposed to find out the relationship between two given persons from the given information. Before we take up any example, let us first understand some of the important terms from this topic. The first point here which we need to understand is children of same parents are called siblings. For example, if a couple has got 3 children, or let's say 2 children, the 2 or 3 children there are called as siblings together. The second point is one's husband or wife is called spouse. The third point is mother's side relatives are all known as maternal relatives. And the next one is father's side relatives are all known as paternal relatives. For example, we know that uncle is nothing but mother's or father's brother. But to be specific, mother's brother and father's brother can be differentiated as maternal uncle or paternal uncle. That means maternal uncle is mother's brother and paternal uncle is father's brother. Similarly, we can use these terms maternal or paternal for all relations which are similar on mother's and father's side. Let us now understand some important relations. The first one here is father's or mother's father is called as grandfather. So we can say that father's or mother's father is grandfather. If you want to be specific, father's father can be called as paternal grandfather and mother's father can be called as maternal grandfather. Similarly, father's or mother's mother is called as grandmother. Again, we can be specific by classifying it as paternal grandmother or maternal grandmother. The next one is father's or mother's brother is called uncle. Similarly, father's or mother's sister is called aunt. Similarly, these two relatives can also be classified as maternal or paternal depending on whether they belong to mother's side or father's side. The next one is uncle's or aunt's child. That means your parents' sibling's child is called as cousin. So any of your parents' siblings, that is your uncle's or aunt's child, whether it is a male or female child, is referred as cousin. Next one is sibling's son. Sibling is nothing but children of same parent. So sibling can be your brother or sister. So your brother or sister's son is referred as nephew, and similarly brother's or sister's daughter is called niece. And last one here is son's or daughter's child. So one's son's or daughter's child is called grandchild. Let us now understand the next set of important relations, that is relations in law. Husband's or wife's mother is referred as mother-in-law. So one's spouse's mother can always be referred as mother-in-law. Similarly, husband's or wife's father is called father-in-law. Husband's or wife's sister is sister-in-law, and husband's or wife's brother is referred brother-in-law. So as you can see, in all these cases, these are the relations which are on the spouse's side. Spouse's mother, father, sister and brother are referred as mother-in-law, father-in-law, sister-in-law and brother-in-law respectively. The next one is brother's wife is again referred as sister-in-law, and sister's husband is referred as brother-in-law. So if you can understand here, we have two types of sisters-in-law. One is your wife's or husband's sister, and the second one is your brother's wife. Both of them are referred as sisters-in-law. Similarly, we have two types of brothers-in-law. One is the one which comes on spouse's side, that is spouse's brother is brother-in-law, and the second one is sister's husband is referred as brother-in-law. The next set of in-laws here are son-in-law and daughter-in-law. Daughter's husband is referred as son-in-law and son's wife is referred as daughter-in-law. So friends, if you try to understand from this, in general we can say that in-laws are nothing but those relations which come from some other family. That means they are not born and brought up in your family, but they become a part of your family at some point of time in your life. Let's say mother-in-law. Mother-in-law is like your mother as per the law. She was not born or brought up in your family, but she becomes your mother once you get married to someone. Similarly, father-in-law, sister-in-law and brother-in-law joins your family at some point of time. They were not born and brought up in your family. And likewise, the second set of sister-in-law and brother-in-law, these are sisters and brothers as per law. And they were also not born in your family. They become a part of your family once your siblings get married. That is, once brothers get married, his wife is referred as sister-in-law, and once the sisters get married, her husband is referred as brother-in-law. Similarly, in case of son-in-law and daughter-in-law, these are like your children, that is son and daughter as per the law. They were again a part of some other family. They simply join your family when your children get married. So daughter's husband should always be referred as son-in-law, and son's wife should always be referred as daughter-in-law. In general, construction of family tree is considered to be one of the best methods to solve questions related to blood relations. So let us first understand how to represent the relationship between two persons with the help of a family tree or with the help of a diagram. In this case, what we do is represent each male and female person with some symbol. Let's say a male person is represented with plus and a female person is represented with minus. So whenever we get to know that a particular person's gender is male, we simply put a plus sign on top, meaning that this person is male. Similarly, if the person's gender is female, we can use minus sign to represent that this person is female. Or you can use any other symbols to represent these two genders. Let us now see how to use these notations in understanding the given relationships in a very simple manner. The given statement here is A is the brother of B. So very clearly we can understand that A is a male person as he is the brother. But the gender of B is not known to us. It can be male or a female person. So what we can do here is write A and put a plus sign on top, which means A is a male person, and simply draw an arrow indicating that A is the brother of B. So once we look at this notation, we can understand that B's brother is A. Similarly, it can be used for A is the sister of B. Here we know that A is a female person as she is the sister here. But the gender of B again is not known. So this can be shown as A with a minus sign on top, and we can simply put an arrow showing that sister of B is A. So very clearly B's sister is A. Let's take the next one, that is A is the wife of B. Here very clearly, once we know that A is the wife of B, it is obvious that B is the husband of A. So we know the gender of both the persons, that is A is a female person and B is a male person. So A can be shown with a minus sign and B can be shown with a plus sign. Let us now see how to show this relationship in the diagram. So A is a female person, B is a male person, and since this is a married couple, we can have a notation as shown. Here we are using a double-headed arrow, which means that these two persons are married to each other. So in this way, we can simplify the given statements with the help of simple diagrams. One more point which we need to understand in these three cases is there is no generation gap between the two persons A and B. For example, when we say A is the brother of B, A and B are siblings, that is, they belong to the same generation. So that is the reason we show them on the same level. Similarly, in case of A is the sister of B, we have shown them in the same level, because they belong to the same generation. And even in the last case, that is A is the wife of B, these two persons are of same generation. So they always should be represented on the same line. But once we get to know that there is a generation gap between the two given persons, we try to represent them on different levels. Let us understand that. For example, A is the son of B. Here very clearly we know that A is a male person as he is the son. But the gender of B is not known. We can only say that B is the parent of A. But is B a male parent or a female parent is not clear. So we cannot talk about the gender of B. But the other point which we can understand from this statement is there is a generation gap of 1 between these two persons A and B. So always show A at the bottom because he belongs to the next generation and B on top. And we can say that B's son is A. And we can put a plus sign here which means A is a male person. Let's take the next one, that is A is the mother of B. Even in this case we can see that A and B has a generation gap of 1. So these two persons must be shown on different levels. Here we know that A is the mother of B. So very clearly A is a female person, but the gender of B is not known. We can only say that B is the child of A, but is B a female child or male child is not clear. So we cannot talk about the gender of B. Let us see how to represent these two persons in the diagram there. We can simply say that A is the mother of B. So you can write mother here and put a negative sign, meaning that A is a female person. So as we can see, B's mother is A. That's how we try to understand the relationship. In the first case, we can say B's son is A. Let us now take the last one. In this case, you can see that A is the grandfather of B. So from this, we can say that A is a male person as he is the grandfather. But again, the gender of B is not known. B can be a male grandchild or a female grandchild. So we can say that A is a male person and he is the grandfather. That means the generation gap between A and B is of 2 levels. So in this case, we need to represent A and B as follows. We simply try to represent them with the 2 arrows, meaning that A is the grandfather of B. So if you can see this, B's grandfather is A. Even if this grandfather is not written, it is very clear that B's grandfather should be A. Why? Because we have a generation gap of 2 and the gender of A is male. So the obvious relationship between B and A has to be that of grandfather and grandchild. So friends, this is how with the help of simple notations you can understand the given relationships and construct a complete family tree to find out the relationship between any 2 given persons. Friends, remember that there is no hard and fast rule that only these notations have to be followed. Everyone can have his or her own notation and construct his own family tree. Until and unless we don't disturb the relationship between the 2 given persons, we can have your own notation and construct the family tree as per your convenience. But one point which I would like to mention here is always try to understand the gender of a person and the generation gap between the persons, because these 2 points will help us to eliminate the wrong answers very quickly. So always try to understand from the given statement the gender of the 2 persons and what is the generation gap between the 2 persons. Let us now take the first model from blood relations, where the relationship between different pairs of persons is given in the question and we are supposed to find out the relationship between the 2 given persons. The question here is, D is the brother of B, M is the brother of B, K is the father of M, T is the wife of K. How is B related to T? So from the given information, we are supposed to find out the relationship between B and T. How is B related to T? So as we have already discussed, let us try to construct a family tree here and find out the relationship between B and T. The first statement here is D is the brother of B. So very clearly D is a male person as he is the brother of B, but the gender of B is not known to us. So we can represent this as D with the plus sign and he is the brother of B. Remember, we are not specifying any plus or minus sign here since we do not know the gender of B. The next statement here is M is the brother of B. So we now need to connect the person M with B. The statement here is M is the brother of B. So we know that M also is a male person and he is the brother of B. So again we can say that B's brother is M. Even after this relationship, we have no idea about the gender of B. So let us keep it as it is and move to the next statement. The next statement here is K is the father of M. K is the father of M. So now if you observe, there is a generation gap between K and M. So we need to represent them on different levels. So K, as he is the father of M, he should be a male person. And we can say that with the help of an arrow. So M's father is K. Remember, M's father is K. So that is the reason we have taken K on a level above M. The next statement is T is the wife of K. T is the wife of K. We already know the position of K and now we have come to know that the wife of K is T. So T should be a female person and the relationship between T and K can be represented with a double-headed arrow. So very clearly T and K is a married couple here. So after construction of the family tree, we now have to find out how is B related to T. The person B here is related to T in what manner? Now we can see here that B's brother is D and B's brother is M. So very clearly these three persons are siblings. That means they are the children of the same parents. We know that M's father is K. If M's father is K, it is obvious that B's father is also K. And K's wife is T. That means M's father's wife, M's mother is T. If M's mother is T, B's mother is also T. So we can now say that the relationship between B and T should be that of a mother and a child. So B's mother is T. If we see the question here, it is how is B related to T? We know that B's mother is T, but the gender of B is not known to us. That means B can be either the son of T or can be the daughter of T. So here we can say that B is either son or daughter of T. So the answer here should be son or daughter. Friends, be careful in these type of questions. We need to understand the relationship between B to T, not from T to B. If the question is how is T related to B, we can very clearly say that T is the mother of B, and that will be our final answer. But since the question is how is B related to T, we should know the relationship from B to T. Therefore, the relationship from B to T, that is B is the son or daughter of T, has to be the answer for this question. Let's now look at the second example from the model 1 that we have just discussed. The question here is B is the sister of D, M is the father of D, N is the sister of M. And from this given information, we are supposed to find out how is B related to N. So as already discussed, let us try to construct the family tree and establish the relationship between B and N. The first statement here is B is the sister of D. So very clearly B's gender is female, but the gender of D is not known to us. So this can be represented as B with a minus sign, and she is the sister of D. And remember, we are keeping these two persons on the same level as they belong to the same generation. The next statement is M is the father of D. So very clearly M is a male person as he is the father of D. But still we have no idea about the gender of D. D can be a male child or a female child of M. But we can represent the given relation as shown here. So M with a plus sign, and he is the father of D. The next statement is N is the sister of M. N is the sister of M. So N is a female person and she is the sister of M. That means N and M belong to the same generation, and that can be shown as M's sister is M, and here we have a negative sign. So this completes the family tree for the given information, and now we should establish the relationship between B and N. As you can see here, B and D are siblings because they are the children of the same parent. Now as we know that D's father is M and B is the sibling of D, very clearly B's father will also be M. So we can say that the relationship between B and M is that of a father and daughter. So B's father is M and N is the sister of B's father. So your father's sister is referred as your aunt. So we can say that B's aunt is N. So the relationship between B and N should be that of an aunt and niece. Remember, B is a female child, so she should be referred as niece and not nephew. Now the question is how is B related to N? So we can say that B here is the niece of N. So the answer here should be niece. Remember, as I already told you, be careful. If the question is how is B related to N, our answer should be B is the niece of N. Had the question been given the other way, that is how is N related to B, then the answer should be N is the aunt of B. But here the correct answer is niece. Let us now discuss the second model from blood relations, which is generally a 3 marks question in bank exams. In this model, the relationship between two persons is given in terms of symbols, and then from the given equation we need to find out the relationship between the two extreme persons. Let's look at the example here. The question here is P by Q means P is father of Q. P plus Q means P is mother of Q. P minus Q means P is brother of Q, and P star Q means P is sister of Q. So very clearly we can understand that whenever we find a symbol of by or division, that has to be taken as father. Similarly, plus should be taken as mother, the symbol of minus is taken as brother, and into should be taken as sister. So with the help of these given notations, we need to find out the relationship between A and D in the given equation. The conventional way of solving these type of questions is construction of family tree, which we have already discussed in the previous model. So you can apply that and get the answer, but as of now let us understand the smart way of solving the problem, which can lead you to the correct answer in just a few seconds. If you remember, I have told you to take care of the gender and the generation gap between the two persons. So let us try to use these 2 points in solving such questions. The first point is we need to concentrate on the gender of the given person, and the second point is the generation gap between the two persons. So let us try to work on these 2 points and try to eliminate the wrong answers. If we take the relationship between A and B, we see here A plus B, and from the given notation we know that plus means mother. So very clearly A is the mother of B. If A is the mother of B, we can say that the gender of A is female, and the generation gap between A and B should be 1. Since A is the mother of B, she is in the higher level of B. So the gap between A and B should be 1. Once we know that A is a female person, we can eliminate some of the options. We know that we have to find out the relationship between A and D, that is A is D's dash. So the relationship here should be representing a female person. And very clearly option 2 is grandfather. So that cannot be the answer because A is a female person. Option 4 here is father. Even that cannot be the answer. So the possible answers are either sister or grandmother. Why? Because both these options denote a female person. Let us now continue and find out the overall generation gap to come to the correct answer. Moving on to the next set of persons here, B by C. We know that by means father. So we can say that B is the father of C. Once we know B is father of C, the gender of B is male, and again the generation gap between B and C is 1. C minus D. C minus D means C is the brother of D. So we can say that C is a male person as he is the brother of D, and the generation gap between C and D should be taken as 0 because they belong to the same generation as they are siblings. The gender of D cannot be determined here because there is no information given regarding that. Now if we try to find out the overall generation gap, we see here that the total generation gap is 1 plus 1 plus 0, that is equal to 2. So very clearly between the two persons A and D, the generation gap should be 2, and A is a female person. So with the help of these 2 points, that is the generation gap between A and D should be 2 and the gender of A should be female, let us try to find out what can be the exact answer. If you look at option number 1, the relationship given is sister. Now if A is the sister of D, the generation gap between A and D will become 0. But since we know that the generation gap is 2, this answer can be eliminated. Now, as already 3 options are eliminated, the only choice which we have here is grandmother or none of these. Now, from the given equation, we know that the generation gap between A and D is 2, and A is a female person. So, the probable relationship between A and D, can that be of a grandmother? Or it can also be a grand aunt. Grand aunt is nothing but sister of grandmother. Now if you are ready to take a risk, or if you are running short of time, I suggest you directly go for option number 3, grandmother. Why? Because that is one of the most appropriate answers. But if you are not ready to take a risk, you can construct a family tree and establish the correct relationship. So friends, we can say that grandmother can be the correct answer. Otherwise, you can construct a family tree as we have discussed in the previous model and justify the answer. Let us now take the second example from model 2. As you can see here, the information is same that we have already discussed, and the question is which of the following shows that A is the aunt of E. So this is quite opposite to what we have discussed in example 1. In example 1, the equation was given and the relationship was to be established. But in example 2 here, if you observe, the relationship is already specified that A is the aunt of E, and we need to find out which of the given equations are correct, which represents A is aunt of E. Now again, as I've already told you in example 1, to solve these type of questions, generally people follow the conventional method of constructing a family tree. But that is going to take a lot of time in this case. What we can do here again is find out the generation gap and the gender in all the given equations, and whichever equation satisfies the relationship here, that can be taken as a correct answer. Now if you observe here, we know that A is the aunt of E. So very clearly A is a female person. And since A is the aunt of E, the generation gap between A and E should be 1. So let us try to work out on these 2 points for each of the given equations. Whichever satisfies them, that can be taken as a correct answer. Now if you look at the first option, we know that the relationship between A and B is represented with a minus symbol. Now from the given information, we know that minus means brother. So we can say that A is the brother of B. Now since A is the brother of B, it is clear that A should be a male person. And here itself we can say that option number 1 cannot be the answer, since the required gender for A is female. Let us look at option 2, A star B. From A star B, we know that the relationship should be that of a sister. So very clearly A is a female person, as she is the sister of B. And since A and B are siblings, the generation gap between them should be 0. B by C. By means father. So B is the father of C. That means B is a male person and the generation gap between B and C is 1. Again C star D. Star means sister. So we can say that C is the sister of D. So which shows C is a female person and the generation gap between C and D is 0, since they are in the same generation. And the last part here is D minus E. Minus means brother. So we can say that D is the brother of E, which shows D is a male person and the generation gap between these 2 persons is again 0. So if we try to find out the overall generation gap from A to E, we can see that the total is equal to 1. Hence this option satisfies both the conditions. That is, A's gender is female and the overall generation gap between A and E is equal to 1. So this can be the correct answer. But before we mark this as the answer, we also need to verify the remaining options. Why? Because with a generation gap of 1 and the gender of female, there are different types of relationships possible. A can be aunt of E, A can be mother of E, A can be mother-in-law of E, and so on. So before we mark this as the answer, we should verify the remaining 2 options. So let us look at option number 3 now. A by B. By means father. So very clearly A is the father of B. So the gender of A is male and the generation gap is 1. But since the gender of A is male, option 3 cannot be the answer, as we want A to be a female person. Let us move to option 4. A plus B. Plus means mother. So A is a female person and the generation gap between A and B is 1, since A is the mother of B. B minus C. Minus means brother. So B is the brother of C. So B is a male person and the generation gap between B and C is 0. The third relationship here is C star D. Star means sister. So very clearly C is the sister of D. So C is a female person and the generation gap is 0. And the last part here is D by E. D by E means D is the father of E. So very clearly D is the father of E. So D should be a male person and the generation gap between D and E should be 1. Now if we try to observe here, A is a female person, which satisfies the first condition, but the overall generation gap from A to E in this case is 2. And hence this cannot be the correct answer, since the required gap between A and E's generation should be 1. So we can say that option 4 is not the answer. Now already first option, third option and fourth option have been eliminated. Only option 2 and option 5 is left out. Friends, as you can see here, already we have eliminated 3 of the options. Only option 2 and option 5 are left out, and any of these 2 options can be the correct answer. But in case if you are running short of time, you better mark option 2 as the answer and move to the next question without wasting any time further on this question. But if you want to verify your answer, you can construct the family tree for equation 2 and see if A is the aunt of E or not. Let us try to construct the family tree and check whether this is the correct relationship or not. A star B, star means sister, so we can say that A is the sister of B. So this is the relationship between A and B. B by C, by means father, so B is the father of C. So very clearly B is the father, so B is a male person and he is the father of C. So C can be taken here. The next set here is C star D. C star means C is the sister of D. So very clearly C is a female person and C is the sister of D. So we can say C is the sister of D. And the last set here is D minus E. Minus means brother. So D is the brother of E. So D is a male person and he is the brother of E. E's gender anyway cannot be determined. So this is the family tree for option number 2, which is left out. Now from this, if we try to establish the relationship between A and B, we can see that all these three persons, that is E, D and C, are siblings. That means they are children of the same parent. So E's brother is D, D's sister is C and C's father is B. If C's father is B, it is very clear that E's father is also B. So E's father is B, since all these three persons are siblings. So E's father's sister is A. So we can say that A is the sister of E's father. Sister of E's father is nothing but E's aunt. So very clearly A is the aunt of E, and that is the given question. So we can say that option 2 is the correct answer. Remember, if you try to construct such a family tree for all the given options, it is going to take a long time. So first eliminate the wrong answers with the help of gender and generation gap, and then only for the left out options you can construct the tree and check whether the given answer is correct or not. We are now going to discuss the most interesting model from blood relations, where we are supposed to find out the relationship between the two given persons from the lengthy indirect statement. Let's look at the question here. Pointing to a girl, Arun said, "She is the only daughter of my grandfather's son." How is the girl related to Arun? So as you can see here, we need to establish the relationship between girl and Arun from the statement, that is, she is the only daughter of my grandfather's son. Again, the conventional way of solving these type of questions is to construct a family tree and then establish the relationship. But that is going to take a lot of time. So let's look at the smarter way of solving the problem. What we can do here is first identify the speaker of the statement and whom he is talking about. For example, in this case, as you can see, Arun has said this statement. So very clearly the speaker is Arun and he has said this about the girl. He is pointing to the girl and then he has given the statement. So very clearly the speaker is Arun and he is talking about the girl. So we can say that she in the statement is nothing but the girl. And my should be Arun, as this statement is said by Arun. So this person my is nothing but Arun. So now the statement becomes the girl is the only daughter of Arun's grandfather's son. What we can do here is cut short the given statement into different parts and then frame a simple statement which can give you the relationship between Arun and the girl. As you can see here, the last part is Arun's grandfather's son. We know that grandfather's son can be your father or can be your father's brother. So there are two possibilities here. Grandfather's son can be taken as father or your uncle, which is nothing but father's brother. So now the statement becomes the girl is the only daughter of Arun's father or only daughter of Arun's uncle. Now let us try to take both the possible cases. The first case is girl is the only daughter of Arun's father. Only daughter of Arun's father will be nothing but Arun's sister. So we can say that the girl is the sister of Arun. But in case if this person here is Arun's uncle, the statement becomes the girl is the only daughter of Arun's uncle. As we have discussed in the beginning of the session, daughter of your uncle is nothing but cousin. So here the girl becomes Arun's cousin. So if the person here is father, the girl should be Arun's sister, or if the person is uncle, the girl should be Arun's cousin. But as the given statement doesn't clarify whether this person is father or uncle, we can say that the girl is either sister or cousin. And from the given options, we see that sister is available and cousin also is available. So we can say that the given information is insufficient to answer the question. So the answer here should be data inadequate. But remember friends, for these type of questions, this is the most convenient method. Simply try to divide the statement into different parts and then simplify it in such a way that we can understand the direct relationship. Let us now take the second example from the model that we have just discussed. The question here is, pointing to a woman, Nirmal said, she is the only daughter of my wife's grandfather's only child. So as you can see, this is a real complicated statement, and the question is, how is the woman related to Nirmal? So from this statement, we need to decide the relationship between woman and the person Nirmal there. As I've already mentioned, to solve these type of questions, we first need to identify the speaker of the statement and whom is he talking about. As you can see here, pointing to a woman, Nirmal said. So very clearly, Nirmal is the speaker and he's talking about the woman. So from this statement, we can understand that the person she is nothing but the woman Nirmal is talking about. So woman is the only daughter of Mai. This Mai is nothing but the person Nirmal, as Nirmal is saying the statement. So we can now say that the woman is the only daughter of Nirmal's wife's grandfather's only child. Now let us try to cut it short and understand the relationship between woman and Nirmal. Let us start from this point. Nirmal's wife's grandfather. So Nirmal's wife's grandfather can be taken as Nirmal's grandfather-in-law. It is similar to father-in-law. Wife's father is father-in-law, so wife's grandfather should be treated as grandfather-in-law. So we can say that wife's grandfather is nothing but grandfather-in-law. Grandfather-in-law. Now, if you look at this part of the statement, that is grandfather-in-law's only child, it means your grandfather-in-law has got only one child, and that child has to be your parent-in-law. So very clearly, grandfather-in-law's only child is nothing but the parent-in-law. So this statement can now be replaced with parent-in-law. So now the statement becomes, the woman is the only daughter of Nirmal's parent-in-law. Parent-in-law can either be father-in-law or mother-in-law. Now, only daughter of Nirmal's parent-in-law. That means Nirmal's father-in-law has got only one daughter. Now once his father-in-law has got only one daughter, it is very clear that that daughter has to be Nirmal's wife. So we can now replace this complete statement with one simple word, that is Nirmal's wife. So we can say that the woman is the wife of Nirmal. So how is the woman related to Nirmal? She should be the wife of Nirmal. So the answer here is option 1. So as you can see here friends, what we only need to do is take small parts of the given statement and try to simplify it so that we can establish the relationship between the two given persons. That's all from Blood Relations. See you in the next session. Thank you.